The sound of raindrops tapping against the cabin's windowpane echoed through the dark and silent woods. I had always found solace in this secluded cabin, nestled deep within the forest. It was my sanctuary, a place to escape the hustle and bustle of the city. But on that rainy day, it became a setting for a terrifying encounter that still haunts my dreams. The day had started peacefully enough. The pattering rain was soothing, and I spent hours by the fireplace, reading a book and sipping on hot tea. The grey sky cast a melancholic yet cosy atmosphere over the cabin. As the hours passed, the rain intensified, creating a constant drumming on the cabin's roof. In the late afternoon, as the rain showed no signs of letting up, I decided to venture outside onto the covered porch. There, I could still enjoy the fresh forest air while staying dry. I settled into an old rocking chair, the only sound being the rhythmic creaking of the wood. The rain made everything seem alive, from the rustling leaves to the gurgling brook nearby. As the evening sun faded behind thick clouds, I felt an unease settle upon me. The rain had turned relentless, and the forest had grown eerily silent. No chirping birds or croaking frogs, just the unceasing drumming of raindrops on the cabin. I tried to dismiss my unease as mere paranoia. After all, I'd spent countless days and nights here without incident. But then, as I stared out into the dimly lit forest, something caught my eye. A faint glimmer of movement among the trees, barely discernible through the rain-smeared glass. I strained my eyes, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. It was a figure, a human figure, standing amidst the trees, about 50 yards away. The person appeared to be facing the cabin, but the darkness and the rain made it impossible to identify them. My heart raced as my mind raced through the possibilities. Had someone stumbled upon my sanctuary? Were they lost in the woods, seeking refuge from the storm? Or was it something more sinister? I decided to speak up, to ask if the person needed help. But as I opened the cabin door and stepped onto the porch, I froze. The figure was gone, vanished into the inky depths of the forest, as if it had never been there at all. Dread washed over me. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. I retreated back into the cabin, locked all the doors and windows, and armed myself with a fireplace poker. The cabin felt like a fortress, and I huddled in the dimly lit living room, listening to the rain and waiting for dawn to break. Morning came, and with it, the rain had ceased. The forest outside looked as tranquil as ever. I cautiously ventured out to investigate, but there was no trace of the mysterious figure from the night before. No footprints in the mud, no signs of anyone having been there. To this day, I can't explain what I saw that rainy night in the forest. But one thing is certain. I will never forget the eerie feeling of being watched, the inexplicable presence lurking in the dark, and the chilling mystery that remains unsolved.
The rain poured relentlessly outside, a symphony of water droplets drumming on the roof and windows. I had always found comfort in the soothing sound of rain, but that rainy day would change everything. I was alone in my small, dimly lit apartment, nestled in a quiet neighborhood. The rain had been falling steadily for hours, and the world outside was cloaked in a shroud of mist and darkness. The soft glow of my computer screen was my only source of light as I lost myself in my work. Suddenly, a faint tapping sound caught my attention. I paused, my fingers hovering over the keyboard, and strained my ears to listen. The sound was barely audible, like someone lightly rapping on my window. I cautiously made my way to the living room, peering out through the rain-smeared glass. There was nothing there, just the street lamp casting eerie shadows on the wet pavement. I chalked it up to my imagination playing tricks on me, returned to my work, and tried to shake off the unease. Minutes turned into hours, and the rain showed no sign of letting up. My apartment felt cozier with every passing moment, and I was oblivious to the world outside. But then, I heard it again, a faint tapping, this time on my front door. My heart raced as I tiptoed towards the entrance, anxiety gnawing at me. I hesitated for a moment, my hand trembling as I reached for the doorknob. What if it was just a neighbor seeking shelter from the rain, or perhaps a delivery person with a package? I took a deep breath and turned the knob slowly. As I opened the door, a gust of cold, damp air rushed in, carrying with it the unmistakable scent of wet asphalt and rain-soaked leaves. My eyes darted around, but there was no one there. I was about to dismiss it as a prank or my imagination once more, but a glance to my left froze me in my tracks. A hooded figure, cloaked in darkness, stood just inches away from me. Panic coursed through my veins as I realized this was no ordinary encounter. The hooded stranger's face was obscured, and their intent was unclear, but the glint of a knife in their hand left no room for doubt. I staggered back, my heart pounding, and tried to scream, but fear had rendered me mute. The rain outside continued to pour, masking any sound of our confrontation. The stranger advanced, their steps inaudible against the cacophonous downpour. I had no choice but to act quickly. I slammed the door shut and locked it with trembling hands. My apartment was my fortress now, and I needed to protect myself. I fumbled for my phone, dialed 911, and whispered my address to the dispatcher, praying they would arrive in time. The seconds dragged on like hours, and I could hear the hooded figure outside, their footsteps growing louder as they circled the apartment, searching for another way in. The dispatcher assured me that help was on the way, but I couldn't shake the feeling of being trapped, like prey hunted in the rain-soaked night. As I huddled in the corner of my darkened living room, waiting for the police to arrive, I realized that on that rainy day, the rain itself had become a sinister accomplice, masking the steps of a would-be robber and turning my tranquil refuge into a chilling nightmare.